So Kokomi is currently rerunning, and you should know some of her teams got buffed this patch, including Mono Hydro, one of my favourites and a team growing in popularity. I'm making this video to show the damage this team has gained with the buffs and how they improved the team at different levels of investments. If you want to see how the buff affected other teams, I already made a video a few weeks ago on Double Hydro Hu Tao. So hopefully you guys have already seen my initial video on Kokomi Mono Hydro explaining the power of this team. If not, you should check it out. I think it's a good video going into all the intricacies that make it not just a brain dead team slapping Hydro characters together. It's a very well thought out team. So anyway, here's my updated sheet. Remember, the 3.0 buff is giving 25% HP to the team, but it also removed the incoming healing that was originally from Hydro Resonance. I'll put the sheet in the description of this video and the pinned comment. So the main numbers we'll start with is the overall team damage changes, which go from just under 5% to almost 6%. Firstly, this is nice. A good team got even stronger and investments got even more valuable. However, compared with my Hu Tao calcs, which overall got more like a 7% buff, why is that? Number one, the Hu Tao team lost nothing with the buffs. It was just a straight increase. In comparison, for Kokomi Mono Hydro, the removal of incoming healing actually does lower the off-field healing, meaning it does lower her clam damage slightly. Secondly, all of Hu Tao's damage scales with HP, and Zhongli's small damage also scales with HP too, although it is split. In comparison, not all of Kokomi's damage scales with HP, and even her on-field clam damage was already capped, so that couldn't increase any further. And then lastly, for the overall team, Hu Tao obviously deals a lot more of the team's damage than a Kokomi generally would, meaning the fact that Xingqiu without Jade Cutter does a lot of damage but he doesn't scale from HP, it is more noticeable in the Kokomi team than the Hu Tao team. Now that being said, obviously a 5% increase in team damage is no joke, like low budget going from 55k to 58k, and then just by adding Aqua Simulacra it's almost 66k. These are very good numbers, especially in a team that is super tanky, meaning it's very easy and comfortable to play. Now some more things to note. Obviously this team gets an even bigger jump the more investment you put into it. Similar to a Hu Tao version, giving HP scaling characters better weapons is even more rewarding after the buff. Actually, if you browse CN forums now, I would say it's pretty well accepted that C1 R1 Yelan is just a good investment and highly recommended for any non-pure free-to-play account, or I suppose accounts where you're more interested in collecting lots of C0 characters and not really interested in try-hard damage. Obviously that's very fine and the game isn't hard, you can do that. Yelan is just so significant now, and her output is just so secure for many teams in the game, it really is worth saving up for these early enhancements. And then even damage aside, her C1 is also great in the overworld. So benefits of a C1 R1 Yelan, and this is not strictly limited to this team. Number one, the less ER she needs, like in double Hydra teams, the more jacked Aqua Simulacra gets. In this team example, because Favbo even overcaps on ER, the increase you get from Aqua is over 40% more damage. However, don't expect that in other teams, but it will still be monstrous. Number two, even in many other teams, she is not an ordinary sub DPS. She is still great with Favbo, but often freeing her up for more offensive weapons makes her do significant amounts of damage for many teams. Actually, her damage is so good now that even in Hu Tao teams, you don't need to be worried about giving her Elegy of the End. Buffing her output with Aqua is still very huge. Number three, and this is not for budget players, but investing in her is a stepping stone into further powerful constellations. Not only is it a huge damage increase, but her C2 with its extra Hydra app even unlocks new teams. The rest of her constellations are also powerful. Actually, many whales are considering C6 Yelan as the most busted character in the game. Now obviously, I'm discussing this even though I know about 99% of players won't consider past C2, but it's still interesting. Looking into the future, you can consider Yelan to be just as secure as Kazuha in terms of busted 5-star supports. And given that she scales even better with constellations than Kazuha does, overall you should feel very confident that any investments into Yelan will not go wasted, at least for a long while. You can see here, none of these T0 supports need constellations or weapons. but Yelan is certainly the character you can't go wrong with picking some up. Back to the team, in regards to Kokomi investments, they're actually pretty good. Obviously still not as good as something like Jade Cutter on Xingqiu, since there's no good 4-star weapons, so you go from Harbinger of Dawn. It's a huge upgrade. Jade Cutter is also great in general, since the weapon can be easily used outside of this team and on a wide variety of characters. The issue with C1 Moonglow is this team's numbers is close to the most efficient these upgrades will ever be, so you could be playing her in Taser or a Dendro team, even off-field freeze, where it won't be useful like this. So judge accordingly based on the Kokomi teams you can see yourself playing. And then if you've watched my previous video, you'd know how Kazuha's burst isn't needed in the team, since the animation time he takes reduces the amount of left clicks you can do to attack with Yelan and Xingqiu. And now with Yelan's damage buffed even higher, you value his burst even less. Still, to recap 3 reasons where you can effectively use Kazuha's burst. In conclusion, this strong team got even better, and it's still very popular in China with a cult following, but I'm not sure if global spaces like YouTube or Discord have picked up on it well yet. But still, if you're getting Kokomi this patch and you have these teammates, I highly recommend trying it out.